we doing?
Hey, Matt.
All right. Go ahead.
Hey, what we talked
Matt,
to.
how good for the bye week without an opponent to prepare for? Like, do you get buried in your own stuff? How do you spend that week?
There's a little bit of both. We're able to really dive into the self-scout part. I think that's important. See any tendencies that you might have. Everybody does that. I think sometimes it's telling what you think you might be doing well or not doing well, and sometimes it's flipped. So you hit on that, but then at the same point in time, division game coming up against a great football team. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can and using that time off to work ahead as well.
So is the former is the self-scout, is that stuff pretty revealing sometimes?
It can be, yeah. There's you get the numbers every week, and it kind of tells you where you sit in regards to the rankings.
Yeah.
Some coaches take those rankings and they care. I should say politely, they care more or less about some more than others. But at the same point in time, it's important that if you're doing something well, how do you keep it that way? Because the defense is looking at you to stop it. And then at the same, you're also trying to see what are we not doing well, and you usually tend to focus more on that. And then you got to put it into action.
When we talked to Patrick, he was pretty open with his self-evaluation against Buffalo, said getting through his progressions and also not getting rattled. I guess, what did you see against Buffalo that could...
Really, to me, when you look at it from a bigger picture, you look at it from not so much individual, the thing that stuck out and we talked about as a team and as an offense is we started off that game with 3 and out. And then we came out in the second half, we started off the third quarter, we went 3 and out. We were not efficient at the end of the half with getting a touchdown. We got a field goal from the 1 yard line. And they stopped us on 4th down. So the things that we've been good at most of the year, we struggled with. And that's a credit to Buffalo. They did a great job of putting us in those positions, and they're a good football team. So to Pat's always going to be hard on himself. We as coaches want to see schematically where can we be better, and then now you got to be able to respond. It's not going to be an easy year. It's not going to be an easy week. As the weeks go on, you win or lose. You got to. How do you handle adversity?
It's one day and one practice. What did you see from Josh in his first day back?
I thought he did well. Again, excited that he's back in the building. But like you said, it's one practice. Keep that going and just see where that goes.
Matt, with the Broncos defense that can get you, cause you problems at all 3 levels, what type of mindset do the offense have to have this week?
Well, that's the very first thing that jumps out on tape is you go back to some of the statistics and you see the one thing that jumps out to me is red zone wise, it's not just this year that they're number one. They're good every year. So I think Vance Joseph does a great job at doing some things schematically. He's got great players. That jumps out, making sure we're efficient there. And then just you look at that front. I mean, they lead the league in sacks. They make game-changing plays, which I think is very important. That if you stay in, that's the other thing in the Buffalo game. We had a ton of 3rd and 8, 9, 10 pluses in that game. Stay out of those. They know that, but we know it too, and we got to figure out ways to do it. But they're really good across the board. They've lost some valuable players too, and they're still good. So that's a credit to them.
And you just mentioned the 3rd downs. You were by yards per carry. You're pretty effective. Kareem was pretty effective, but you couldn't stay on the field to get him the carries. But do you feel like the run game is kind of hitting with him, even though you didn't have the big total yards last week?
We do. We feel good about that, and I agree with you in the game there versus Buffalo. We had some good things going, and sometimes it's just the rhythm. But big picture for us, as we look at kind of how the year has gone, where we feel with our run game, we feel like internally as an offense that we like some things we're doing, and we want to grow from that. It's so important in these times, especially this time of the year where the weather changes. You can't be one-dimensional, number one, and number two, you always got to be able to run the football. Sets up play action, screens. So we like where we're at. We want to keep that going, and it's going to be a super big test against a great defense.
And one other from Buffalo, Hairston mentioned that Xavier was tipping things. What do you do on that? Do you go back and examine and try to see, or is it just a guy talking smack?
No, I think there's some stuff in there. When I say big picture is, I don't know. We're always looking at our guys. We're always trying to help our guys out with tendencies, not just schematically, but what they're doing as well. So the guys know it. We do that every week, and I don't know where he was coming from with that, other than just saying what he felt. And so let's be able to stay on top of that stuff, look at it, and respect that.
Coach, you mentioned the Broncos sacks. I mean, 15 players on that defense has at least a sack. How do you scheme against something like that, and how important is it for the offensive lineman to trust the guy to their right or left?
Huge. That communication is massive. They're good enough as is one-on-one. So you just go one-on-one, they're really good. Then you throw some stunts and some blitzes and second-level guys coming into it. Then you throw the communication part. They're good at it. So, you know, we just got to make sure schematically that we understand we like where we're at as an offensive line. We like where we're at with our protections. So, and then in the run game, that's critical too. Let's just make sure we understand, we respect how good they are, but we'll put together a plan, they put together their plan, and then we go butt heads and see where it lasts. But ton of respect because they're really good and they've been that way.
Couple more, we'll start with Pete.
Thanks. It's been a few games since you had Brown, Worthy, and Rice available. I guess as you kind of scouted those games, I guess, do you feel like you're maximizing their ability on the field together?
As much as we can. There's times you kind of look back after a game and you look at some of the play time, where guys are and where they at schematically. But like Coach said, week one, there's only one football. And I think when our guys understand that, which they do such a great job. I've been saying to everybody in here when we talk, the amount of selflessness that we have on this team. And I'm with it, you know, internally with the offense, I see it. And you'll love that. And then as a person that's a part of this as an offensive coordinator, you got to also do the therapy of making sure guys understand they may not have a bunch of catches or targets, but they're involved another way, and they got to appreciate that.
Are there any ways you hope to be better against the pressure than you were against the Bills?
Yeah, I mean, there's ways that we think we want to use. I'm not going to get into it. Schematic no, I know internally here, but we feel like we have a good plan, and we know that, and they got good players. We like our offensive line players, and it's just about you know, two good teams going at it, big game, big division game, and that's what I think everybody wants.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, see you.